Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Last we left off, the coterie, Dead Man's Hand, had been working on a problem that involved the Second Inquisition, agents from some unknown agency and some from elsewhere in the country, from who knows what, to the kindred of the Dallas and Fort Worth areas. Particularly found themselves drawn to Arlington, where the Dead Man's Hand coterie is the primogen of this domain, the outcasts, the former anarchs, the reclaimed, as they're called, of the various smaller domains, all kind of gathered together in a sort of tiny little box. Only allowed to go here and here alone, not even allowed outside the city limits of Arlington for the most part, which causes upwards of 10, maybe more kindred at this point, to really need some elbow room. Feeding is starting to get a little harder, especially with the onlooking of these agents who mean to destroy kindred kind. And as part of that, a member of their domain has gone missing. Madame, a thin blood, who had ties to events happening in Detroit. And with her missing, the coterie wonders how many more are going to go missing before things really start to need addressing. As a part of that, they went hunting for a van, and upon hunting and finding this van, found it occupied by two individuals. One of which was told to run. The other was immediately captured. The one who ran, sadly, did not meet a very pleasant end, with hungry, frenzying kindred attacking and even ripping out the heart of this individual. Collecting the remains, the van, the agents, having delivered them to the Hound for keeping for the time being, the coterie found themselves to rest. With things having escalated as they had, Shriek spent the day sleep at Miss Morn's. Anna, her own haven, a secret, could find rest there. And Alexandra, having spent some time on her own with her studies, was spending the day sleep at the Chantry. And so when the message goes out that Anna would like to speak with the rest of the coterie, you meet at the usual spot, Alex's shop, only to find that one member of your primogen membership is not here. One reason could be that he overslept, as is a tendency for those who are of the sort of pallor that he's become sort of sort of accustomed to. But it's maybe been a couple of minutes. It's a bit more. No word from him either. Perhaps a couple of you are relieved not to have Kane in the same room. Perhaps a couple of you are worried about where he is in general. But he's not here. And so we have you three, Alex, Anna, and Shriek, having come together, perhaps to discuss what's to be done next. So, Dead Man's Hand, what do you do? You're muted, by the way, Specs.
I enter into the shop fairly normally at this point. There's a familiarity to this place. At this time, having come here several nights consecutively, regularly. It's in a lot of ways the hub of this primogen, this domain. And I do notice that as I walk in, it seems that there is a bit of a thin lining of cobwebs right through the entrance. On the side, the strings seem to brush them off of my clothes. It almost feels like it happened overnight. Overday? Overday. And I wave at the clerk as they're finishing up the duties and just wait for Alex to arrive and greet me.
The cleric knows by this point, having seen you guys come over regularly enough, that they're not to listen in, they're to mind their own business, starts pulling out their phone, starts putting on a pair of headphones, goes to sit at a chair in the corner of the counter and just looks like they start to scroll social media.
Well-deserved break.
Unlike every other, Alex actually follows in not too.
Your microphone's above your head. It's cutting out.
Is it not?
Oh, you were cutting out there. It wasn't catching you.
Now we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so unlike every other night, Alex actually follows behind our young Malkavian friend. And she actually opens the door not but a few minutes after Anna, stepping in with the bell tinkling above their head.
You see the clerk look up, notice it's you, and goes back to scrolling.
In her arms, she has a stack of notebooks, things that have been scrolled in, along with a heavy, what looks to be a notebook, but the outside of it is made of wood. Something a little like this.
It's quite the tome you have there.
No.
Is it sturdier, encased in wood?
Wood doesn't catch fires.
That's fair. Suppose it also takes longer to decay in certain circumstances.
And being lined with camphor oil, it has a tendency to keep bugs.
Speaking of, there was seemed to be having a little bit of a infestation. There's cobwebs all over the front of the entrance. I walked through them at first.
Yes. I have to make a few calls. Her name has to be.
That's unfortunate.
And almost as though on cue, beware, for something fabulous this way comes.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
The ringing of the bells announces as Shriek decides to end up stepping in. Though he looks a little nervous as he checks the corners of the room. Starts to see you and comes on over. Maytag isn't here right now, is he?
No.
Okay. Alright. Just checking. Ladies, how you been?
Fine. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why would you ask? Stop asking questions.
Let's go upstairs.
There's... He narrows his eyes. You can already tell it's like his brain immediately went into trying to end up planning an exit plan on an emergency.
It's a little obvious on his face, yeah.
If you like, we can go somewhere else.
No, upstairs fine. Upstairs fine. Why, is there someplace else we need to be?
No.
Where are you taking me?
I'm not taking you anywhere.
No, you had a place in mind.
I was going to let you choose the place, but...
Fine, that I choose upstairs. See? Simple.
Seems we're all in agreement.
Yeah, upstairs.
You hear a snort from the clerk. Like maybe the slightly loud conversation going on at the moment caused them to giggle.
Are a strange one. With that, Alex starts heading upstairs, her arms loaded up, and pulls out her key, unlocks into her apartment. And when she opens the door, she offers for the other two to step in first.
What's the apartment look like?
Full of her usual stuff, probably a few more spider webs around because she hasn't been in there for a day or two.
It's like spiders all over the corners of the walls. You sit down on the cushioning of the chair, and the spiders crawl out of the cushion, and we're just like.
At least it's spiders and not ants. Spiders don't eat books.
Yeah. Seeing that there's spiders everywhere, she kind of lets out a sigh, makes her way over, and she just starts gently moving cobwebs away and kind of moving spiders out of the general living vicinity. It's just very gentle the way she does it.
Could be worse. Could be raccoons.
Speaking of which, you left them by themselves last night. Hopefully they had enough to eat.
Oh, like they'd ever run out.
They're getting fat.
What are they going to do? Eat the furniture?
Could do.
Probably.
Problem you hadn't really thought about before. Do raccoons eat furniture? Do they gnaw through these things? Maybe they're digging into the furniture to try and get the grubs.
Need to end up keeping that in mind. Research. Yeah, I could use some research right about now. Okay. And like that, Shriek just plops down on what appears to be the comfiest seat there, and I imagine things just squirm out as soon as he does, and he doesn't even pay it any mind because it's very clear that this is his norm.
We really need to organize another place to meet.
A couple of cockroaches start crawling up the wall.
Like I didn't say that right out of the gate, but somebody was intent on using their shop, so I'm here now. Are you gonna cry about it?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Besides, I'm pretty sure Iron Newton and other shit is your shtick anyway. If anything, this should be right at home for you.
Insects aren't really a stuff that I do, but sure, we'll say that.
Somebody esoteric enough might.
Kind of closes the door behind them. So what's new?
Mostly just wanting to meet up and update everyone. I think we might have a problem in the domain.
Yeah, it's about 600 pounds, and it currently wears denim. I
I
don't
get
know
the
what's going to
feeling.
be in fashion tomorrow.
I get the feeling something didn't go right between you and Kane.
Me and Kane to try the entire operation. So, last night we did a bit of hunting. This hunting was for your black vans. Managed to end up gain a small bit of a payday. Fortunately, we ended up finding 2 individuals in that black van and managed to subdue one of them. The other one was eaten. Kane took exception to this.
And what
Why?
for?
I don't know. He knew them. Everybody's involved in this fucking breakfast club. I swear, if it ended up being anything else, no problem. But I was having to end up contending with the fact that I had a half-starved organivore to end up dealing with, and I found a way to end up dealing with 2 problems at the same time. Managed to get them fed so they don't end up eating anybody else on the premise and cause a mess, while being able to help us clean up with this Second Inquisition mess. There we go, problem solved. But now that wasn't good enough. No. Apparently it wasn't like if I didn't sedate and do it kindly, because instincts kind of took over in more than one occasion. So, Predator does what Predator do, and Organivore does what Organivore do. And this made him upset. To the point where I can't go home right now.
So he knew somebody that was involved with this second.
Yeah, and I'm not about to ask Maytag about it. Is right now, as far as I can end up telling, he wants my head.
Do you need somewhere to be?
Trust issues right now. And I appreciate the sentiment. Really, I do. But at this point, I already have one of the four primogens in this coterie wanting me dead. I don't need to end up flirting with anything that could potentially end up making another excuse for it, okay? It has been a long night, and I just end up spending a long night being berated by an elder.
Okay. That is
Well,
fair.
that's 2 of us with issues.
So, I'm going to do my Primogen duties and see if I can't get the twins to end up integrating a bit, try and figure out what they can end up doing, try and end up finding some ways to end up smoothing over this mess and make things a little bit easier, which makes it a lot more difficult when at this point, as far as I can tell, it's going to be a disruption every 2 minutes. I can use for some calm waters right about now. And as far as I can tell, storms are brewing on the horizon. The old man's leg is twitching like he do when it rains. And currently, I'm just really itching to end up trying to end up finding just some way to end up making it out of this with my head on. And I'm struggling to find that. So, I get it. Get it. I wasn't aware at that point we were supposed to be protecting the Second Inquisition. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. But that's apparently the order by Maytag. Because he might happen to know one of them. Maybe bagged his groceries one time or some shit.
Fuck his orders. Is problem. They die in the process, regardless of whether they're known to any of them.
Would love to say that, but difference between you and me here, sweetheart, is my face is too pretty to be here turned into hamburger. Look, I like to end up thinking that I am the best looking haunt you have ever seen, and I would like to maintain that trophy for as long as humanly fucking possible.
There's a lot of fear. Yes, I get it. He's big, he's strong. He can snap any of us like a bloody quick.
That's not the worst part of it. You're not calculating the worst part of it.
What's the worst part of it?
The worst part of it is that he doesn't care about what the consequences of it are. If he has a hair up his butt, it's going to end up him making him act, regardless on what happens next.
So, that kind of behavior makes him a threat to Maria.
Yeah, which is fantastic. If it wasn't for the fact that he is currently besties with the Scourge.
I wouldn't put it that far.
If the Prince thought he was a threat, the Scourge wouldn't have a choice.
I don't know if you... Have any of you actually ended up talking to the Scourge?
Yes.
Okay, so not exactly what I would end up calling multi-stage thinker. Okay? If it doesn't involve a Barbie doll or a rattle, or killing somebody in some of the most brutal fashions known to humankind and above, she's not interested.
But she does operate on the same laws that we do.
We hope. Because theoretically, so does Maytag.
So the question is, what do we do about this? Do we just leave it? Or do we find something to do about it? Or do we focus on what's currently happening in our domains and make ourselves politically untouchable?
What does the seer have to think about this one?
Seer?
Kane regardless of what his wants are, he is pretty simplistic in how he operates. Give him an enemy, he will move towards it. And he has a leash, and that leash is the Scourge, who operates the same way. So, if given everything, knowing that the Scourge has to operate by rules of the traditions and is receptive to them, we can keep her and fundamentally keep Kane moving on the outskirts of the domain as we need, or until we need them. For you, Shriek, I do notice what you do. I recognize it. Your efforts to protect all of us as part of your fellow Primogen, and also to help those within the domain. You are working very hard and consequentially seem to be punished for it.
Just part of the gig. That's how it works. But hey, buck stops with us. And despite what you might think, this shithole's growing on me like mold. So, I either find a way to end up making it work, get the prince's due, or he finds somebody who might be a little less charitable. We're in a disposable position as temporary placeholders till he finds a replacement. And when he finds a replacement, and he will, he needs to be able to justify it. I want to give that as little ammunition as humanly possible. In fact, I think it would just be fabulous to end up being a part of this. Hang around for a bit. I like the idea of things operating the way I see it. But for that to happen, I kind of need to end up making sure I end up keeping that portion of my title. And it also means I gotta end up thinking about how do I end up organizing this whole thing. Because everybody's got a problem. Everybody's got an issue. Everybody's trying to get fed. And at this point, I'm here seeing everything stumble around and feeling very much like a whore in church right now. I'm just moist in all the ways except the one fun one.
With the two fledglings, what is your current need? What is something that I can support with? Make your job a little easier here.
Alright, outside of feeding, we have a temporary measure for that if we can keep them hunting Second Inquisition and eating. It's a nice little back and forth. Whoever they're going to eat was going to die anyway, so they have the support of our local hound. Raphael has no problem in doing so, in the fact that it at least offers some helping hands. Helps there. Right now, I need to end up finding ways to end up figuring out on how this domain operates in a way that's a little bit better. Trying to find ways for people to interlock, so to speak. What we have here is a bunch of puzzle pieces to a whole bunch of different puzzles that never fit in the first place, and we gotta somehow turn this shit into a mosaic.
It needs a system, a flow to it.
And so that's why I ended up having little Miss Jade look into the recently burned down blood bank. Because if she can end up gaining on the ground floor of that, little bit of supply demand get the thin bloods at least sorted out. And of course, it ends up making her feel like she's a little bit important, like she's got a little bit of pull around here. I'm currently about to end up taking the twins over to church because they need to at least understand that there's a way for us to kind of work inside the way people operate. So if they can end up finding a little bit of a niche for themselves in the future, that's great. If I can find a way to feed an organivore in perpetuity in here, that would be even better. If I can end up finding some way to get the thin bloods to end up stopping all the hooting and hollering, that might also end up working. We also end up having a whole bunch of other individuals around here that we still haven't met. And I'm still trying to end up figuring out a system that makes them all work together and have a little bit of a niche, have a little bit, be able to declare, here's a little bit of hunting domain, and here's what I need you to do to build it up. And meanwhile, without doing it so fast that it becomes very clear something's going on here. Because if we do that, if we just start building up blood banks infinitely and all that kind of stuff, this is how we get Second Inquisition. And I'm sure nobody here wants Second Inquisition. We already have a small infestation. He looks to the spiderweb, looks back at you. And I'd rather not exasperate the situation. I'd rather it just be a bunch of their agents who went missing, stop sending them here, and leave it at that. No grandiose claims, just a whole bunch of mysteries and presumptions of worst case fucking scenarios. On their part. However, little Malkavian friend, thank you. Thank you for recognizing what the hell has been happening from the start. It's appreciated. It really is. Almost makes me want to cuddle.
Well, by extension, Anna just... You notice she's actually been playing with a spider in her hand for the past couple of seconds. Maybe we can stay on the web together. Close enough like that. She just brings the spider over, lets it crawl onto Shriek's foot. I imagine he's got his feet kicked back up.
Yeah.
Onto a table or something.
Oh, he's probably like the recliner full on, just like, I never get to lay in these. They're usually falling apart by the time I get to do this.
Speaking of Jade, I did speak with her recently.
Oh, this is gonna be good. So, tell you on how it was going to end up having you boiled alive along with the frogs yet?
As pessimistic as it is, I asked her to do something for me. Put a pin on Dr. Olson. I wanted to know if and who he would be reporting to. But
Interesting.
realistically, it's building up on the idea that I want to see how she becomes integrated with this. She said she liked to operate more in the shadows, indirectly. It's reasonable. That makes sense.
Reasonable if you have the resources and the manpower, in which case I can almost assure you that she doesn't.
And that's what I was thinking too. So I had to specify. Put Dr. Olson into a state of submission. And in return, this coming Elysium, she'll get the chance to come observe.
Oh, goody. Coffee, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dr. Olson was the doctor who was earlier working with the twins.
No, you're talking about Dr. Ian Keller.
Ian Keller.
Yes.
I keep getting them confused. Dr. Olson.
Dr. Olson was the one that was on Alex's ass.
Right. Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Was looking into Alex before things got a little topsy-turvy.
He can't be on Alex's ass if he's under a Venture's boot.
Fair.
That's exactly right.
God, this
Well,
I'm running into so many doctors. I feel like I'm in a cast ER.
Yes.
No,
You may not know it. We're playing house.
That's response. Like, dear God, I'm on a cast of ER.
Shriek is Dr. House, limp and everything.
Many things, dear, but never limp.
so what else do we need right now?
In regards to a working system, I am sort of seeing a flow that can be integrated. Even if Kane is consequentially a threat. Reality is that he has assets that can help us move things around. For instance, Colette, I made an offer, and this is something I somewhat need help with tonight. Presuming the worst. There is someone I was speaking with. Shriek, you remember Madame?
Right, the thin blood.
And she had been directly followed by these black vans. She has a history of it. And I wanted to see just how much information she would be able to exploit from them, using herself as bait, with Colette following her.
Sorry, are we talking about the same Madame that has gone missing? The same one that I had a very, very upset brouhaha come up to me concerning?
She's missing?
Yes. Gerard was supposed to be meeting with her the other night. Said she never showed.
I haven't heard anything from her for a few days.
Well, I got a great idea then. Now, oftentimes I like to be the guy, right? But sometimes the guy who knows a guy. Well, in this case, I'm the guy who knows a guy who hit and knows a hit a bit of bait that is currently nestled in all nice and secure. And if you get there soon enough, you might be able to end up asking your own questions that might be pertinent to your investigation.
I'll take it.
Tell me something I don't know.
Well, I can track somebody by face.
Something you don't know. Give me a second. What does Shriek not know right now?
Shriek knows
Alex
a lot.
just threw that out there. I can now track somebody by face.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's a curious little tidbit.
I proposed to the Seneschal that Colette acts as Talon within the domain. She would owe that favor to me.
Gives you a little bit. Helps out Colette. Puts us in good with the Banu Hakim. And it's
You've
always nice to have an assassin on hand. Sorry, Assamite. Don't let him know I said that. So I like this plan. I like this plan a lot. It just gets me moist inside. So, let's go ahead and get on with it. Raphael right now is currently housing a member of the Second Inquisition, the one surviving member from the van attack. Also has a bunch of equipment that I'm going to be looking into a little bit soon. But first I got to drop off the twins and have him follow me around for a bit. Since no one else is going to end up serving as proxy sire, I figure at the very least I can do. Besides, no one else is going to take on that role. And everybody else is going to leave them to die until they end up making a complication fuck up and then end up in one of Raphael's storage facilities. And I do so hate to end up seeing such pretty things go to waste.
I haven't even met them yet, so.
So, how about we make it a little bit of a group thing? Call to talk about the order of storing. Call to ask Raphael if he's still storing our van there. We'll be on our way to end up checking it out. And, well, you get to end up seeing a whore in church sweat.
Interesting.
Oh, be nice. You're smiling from ear to ear, Alex.
Just listening.
Well, you can come out of the closet and play any time now.
Sounds like that's
Well, if that's the case, I gotta go and end up having a ladies' night. If you guys want to join and tag along, make the call. If you guys want to jump on ahead, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm gonna just let me know ahead of time. I can deal with the equipment at Raphael's anytime I'd like, but right now I got two hungry young kitties who's still trying to find their place.
well, unless I mean where.
Sorry, you cut out at the last bit there.
I said, well, unless I'm needed elsewhere, I'm happy to come along.
Fantastic.
I'll join.
Oh, goody. I got a quartet entourage.
You can call it a threesome. The shock.
Somebody speaking my language. All right. So if that's the case, let Alex make the call just to let the hound know that we're coming to take a look at not only the van pieces, but we have a few questions for our current Second Inquisition member.
She doesn't call Raphael directly, but she calls the storage facility that Raphael works at. And asks to see him about the items that they have in storage.
You are informed that you can come and visit your storage unit anytime you so wish, day or night.
All right. Thank you. Good.
You're cutting out there quite a bit.
Bugger. She says, she says, let's go to the group. Now that she's let them know.
Alright, so you are aware that the truck is there for you to go and inspect at any point that you like. You can go together or you can go separately, but what are we doing?
Nah, I have no car.
I'm pretty sure Alex is the only one here that drives.
Yeah, there's a lot of walking that goes on between a lot of you.
So, it's gonna end up being her little vehicle.
We're the Trek Brigade. Every day is a 10K, baby.
Lots and lots
So
of walking.
yes, she leads them downstairs, locks up the apartment behind them, and I guess they're on their way to go pick up the twins, from what I understand.
You can definitely pick up the twins. Shriek will lead you to their house, and
I mean, Alex already knows where they live, so
yeah, most of the coterie does anyway. The only person who doesn't really know where they live is Anna, and she's riding along with y'all.
certainly does now.
But yeah, it seems the girls are ready to go. Let me just look at them real quick. Yeah, they're in a pretty decent spot. Julie says that she's actually okay tonight, and Jordan says she could use a snack, but that's really about as peckish as she is. So you can choose to feed, or you can choose not to. It's up to you all. Do you all need to feed?
Okay.
I'll manage.
Oh, speaking of which, I didn't actually have you guys rouse checks.
No. Yeah. So now we're in. Now we're hungry.
So let's determine if that's the case. Go ahead and roll your rouse checks for tonight.
Fear.
Shriek is hungrier than he was, but
Oh, that's the first bit of hunger I have now.
all right. Oh yeah, they will. Yeah, that is. And Anna and Alex are about the same as they were last night. So, what is everybody's hunger right now?
2.
Dose.
Okay, everybody.
1.
A snack isn't a bad idea, but it can wait. So, it's not urgent right now. So when you go to visit with the girls, they'll let you know about that too. Is that they're in a rather pretty good shop, pretty good for right now. So you can feel free to do as you so wish. Meaning, Shriek, you had an intention to take them somewhere, did you not?
That is correct.
You wanted to take them over to see a Zamisi.
Well, more importantly, take them to a non-sister charity. And it helps a little bit in illustrating a very important point. After all, I'm here to end up teaching them. Best to end up doing so early before it starts to become a problem.
Oh.
Certainly don't want problems.
I'm just imagining all 5 of these guys in a car together with Shriek and his fucking insect.
Oh yeah. They do the creepy crawly thing all over him, just as if they were at your house too.
I feel really bad for whoever is in the back seat with him.
Placed in the middle between the 2 twins.
That's where my head was. So
I'll have you know I am a kind, decent lad.
Doesn't mean they're going to be insects not crawling in places where they're not supposed to be.
One way or another, I get inside you, honey.
oh.
You're the one who brought it there, okay? I just said it.
That's the line of the night, I swear.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Shriek grows only like a fungus.
It really does.
But with that being said, you find yourselves in front of a church, a somewhat small one, on the sort of a city limit line of the Arlington city. It's kind of nestled in a bit of trees and kind of has a dirt path leading up to the front door. It's a bit small. It has the building itself looks like it's no more than 1,200 square feet on the inside, and it doesn't look like it has any add-ons or anything like that. So it's a rather unique sort of structure in this particular area because it's small, but supposedly the domain of a nun that Shriek knows. How he knows a nun and why he knows one, that's for your imagination alone. But you pull up, there doesn't seem to be any other vehicles in the lot either. The parking lot is empty. The lights are turned off. Doesn't seem like there's any activity on the inside from what you can tell. So it's curious that he's even bringing you out here in the first place. It's a little rustic. It's not really fancy by any means, or modern to be specific. It's kind of looks like it's been here for decades. Really only maintained in so much that it's not falling apart. The paint's maybe chipping a little, but otherwise looks decent enough. So, what do you do?
So, my only guess as to why we would come here is because we're getting involved in your shame kink, and you really love the guilt.
That's a lot of personal information, says Jordan.
You're gonna find
Hang
a
out
lot
with-
of that.
I'm going to say hang out with Shriek long enough and you'll definitely get a lot of personal information.
Hey, perks to being me. But that's besides the point. Ladies, I came here with a very specific agenda, and it's a surprisingly simple one. You two, lovely as you are, don't know the first thing about being dead. So I thought we'd end up consulting an expert. After all, Jesus Christ has been going at this gig for 2,000 years.
But the Bible says he resurrected.
And you're still walking after being dead? What do you call that?
That's a good point. Jesus would have been what? I don't understand. Julie says, kind of cringing at the idea.
There is the thought that he was.
Look, once you end up realizing that there's a lot of little things you're going to run into, live long enough and you might actually run across some major historical figures you might have actually heard of.
Wow.
But in all honesty, that's not the reason we're here. The reason we're here is to learn a very important lesson.
And
See,
what would that be?
We call it integration. Now, you're a part of the Walking Dead. You're going to end up answering a lot of questions and make a lot of adjustments. But eternity is a hell of a lot of time on your hands. So, we're going to end up talking on how to start putting that to use. And so, I wanted to illustrate it in a way that you can maybe understand.
Okay.
The lady we're coming to end up seeing here is Sister Charity. Sister Charity, like you, is a walking corpse.
Uh-huh.
With me so far?
Yes.
Okay. She is a sister. And I don't mean sister, I mean sister.
Like Catholic?
Got it on the first try. I'm proud of you. Good job, Jordan. So,
I'm not an idiot.
never claimed you were. But I figure I'm going to end up presuming that you are, and we're going to operate accordingly. Because you might learn something you didn't learn beforehand, or you didn't figure something out. For instance, outside of trying to figure out how to feed, what do you two actually do? Because I imagine most of your time is trying to figure out how to end up getting your next meal, and that's about it. And the rest of the time, if you're not figuring that out, it's how to clean it up.
That's a good point. We've been kind
Good.
of focusing in on that.
So, I'm going to end up showing you this concept. 2 twins, or 4 birds, 1 stone. I can do it better than the Saiyans. So, let's try not to burst into flames the second we walk through there. Let's try not to panic at the moment of seeing a man, the statue of a man currently hanging up, getting a little bit of wood. And let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun talking to our beloved elder. Everybody on board with this plan? I know I am.
You know what? I wouldn't mind paying another visit.
Be respectful. It's a house of God.
The girls just nod.
And with that, Shriek heads up walking in.
You walk in, the door opens, and you do see that Sister Charity is sitting in one of the pews. It looks as if she is praying.
Is she alone?
Seems like it. As soon as you walk in the door and she realizes that there are people walking in, she looks over to you all. Good evening to you all.
Please do finish. Sister, would hate to end up having you interrupt or put God on pause for a minute. It's an important call, especially when it comes down to, trying to save what's left of our souls.
Even if I were to sit back down, he is always listening anyway. So it can wait. It seems I have company. Please.
Ladies, this is Sister Charity. Sister Charity, I'd like you to end up meeting 2 new members of our congregation.
I
Jordan
see.
and Julie.
I've not heard of you. That's unusual.
You see the problem.
I do.
That's right.
Well, pleasure to meet you girls. They say, nice to meet you, each to her.
Very good. Can we go someplace a little bit more private? Sorry, too many people for a confession booth.
There's the office in the back.
Almost as crowded, but we'll take it.
And she kind of gestures towards one of the doors on the side of the I forget what it's called, but it's the stage area. There's doors on each side of it, and she gestures to one of the doors and leads you through a small hallway. There's a stairway that kind of leads up to like another section like for storage, but there's the beyond that a door for an office, which she leads you all into. And this office is kind of tiny. It's a desk. It's got two chairs across from on the one side, and then the one chair on the back wall. The barely enough room for all five of you to sit or stand. And for her, she takes the chair at the desk. That's kind of it's kind of plain. All the chairs in here are kind of plain. They don't really match. They kind of look like they're cobbled together a little bit. But she gestures for you all to enter into the office and follows you in, and then she sits down and looks you all over. This is about as private as it gets.
All 8 of us. Fantastic. So, with that being said, again, allow me to end up introducing and explaining the circumstance. We're trying to find their sire.
Ah. Sire's missing, then.
Either that or it's a dine and dash situation, which makes it all the worse. And you know how worse he gets.
Yes, I think we're all aware of how worse it gets.
So, in order to make sure that doesn't happen, so certain elements don't end up coming crashing into your, or through the pews again, I figure I end up asking you what you might have heard. And more importantly, as far as Julie and Jordan are considering, JJ here needs to end up having an understanding on how kindred operate. And I could think of no better example than you. You see, this whole habit thing, this isn't a ruse. This is what she is. I know, hard to end up believing. Made from a curse of God kind of situation, you know, that kind of thing. And here they are, in church. The one place you should be safe away from bloodsuckers. But
Julie
she's not
says,
just hiding.
Seems a little ironic.
Don't you think? A little too ironic. Yeah, I really do think. But that's besides the point. Fancy limericks aside, she's also responsible for a congregation. And that congregation, a congregation nevertheless. And a congregation means a few things, ladies. It means all those dirty little sins. Guess who's on the inside of that? All those little bits of donation, guess who gets a piece of that? All those little contacts and people who might want to end up doing right by their communities, guess who ends up coming into here? And all the little tidbits that come with it. You see, a church is a community, a congregation, a place where you're able to end up feeling like you belong.
So you're intending for us to become nuns?
Please, I'd rather see Alex go celibate. But what I'm saying is look at what she's doing. She finds what she's good at, what she's can apply. She puts herself into a position. She tries to end up working towards that. In her case, it's her and conversation with the Lord Almighty. He does cross. And in doing so, she has found herself indispensable. After all, you heard what she said. An important thing. She hasn't heard of you two. Notice that came as a shock, which means she knows a lot of people around here. She keeps her ear to the ground. She stays informed. She knows what's up. Why? Because she's integrated. The congregation serves as a part of her masquerade. It also serves her for resources, contacts. It serves her in the need to feed, I imagine, on occasion, especially those who may be a little too wicked even for God. It offers a lot of perks to end up wearing a habit. What I'm illustrating is a method, but more importantly, a way to integrate into. Alex does very similar a thing. Look at that little bookshop. Nobody would end up presuming much of anything. Just a weird place for weird shit. But what does she get? She gets to end up dealing with those who are interested in the occult. She gets a nice little book list. She gets the opportunity to have a collection, a long-term investment on shorthand, being able to end up growing up bits of influence, be able to get inside the lives and heads of her own little employees, able to end up being able to make up a small little personal fiefdom, much as we have here. And arguably, the nun's more successful. The occult's going out of fashion these days. Ah, well. I blame atheism, personally.
Okay. Seems like, So what you're getting at, Jordan's kind of piped up by now, is that we should do something similar?
Figuring out what you're good at. Now, given your two proclivities and the path you're starting on, I would suggest something that leans into those skill sets. If you don't have them already, you're going to want to learn them anyway, right? So you might as well get paid for it.
Still trying to figure that out.
Well, could always take a new job in waste disposal, but I suppose he looks them up and down. Your visage might be wasted there. Hey, don't knock it.
Disgusting.
There are some of us who actually end up taking great pride in our work, despite on how disgusting it might be. Sorry that we weren't all end up made into nice little flowers. Some of us had to end up trudging through the dung and shit that ended up flowing downstream.
I didn't mean anything by it.
I think Shriek's point is that there are aspects all over society that we can integrate into. This includes things like waste disposal, churches, shops, and anything else you can think of.
Theaters, perhaps. His eyes quickly take a glance over at Anna and then back to the twins. You just need a skill set that ends up meaning that when people go missing, to you, it's just Tuesday.
Didn't Kane say something about something at the morgue?
He can try, and he might be able to pull it off. The big question is, are you going to be reliant on others, or are you going to be self-reliant? Reliant on others means they got you by the tit, and that's really not going to end up helping you at all.
Well, you're helping us out right now, and then you brought us here because you imagine that she's going to help us out from now on.
She's going to end up helping you in serving as an example and maybe be able to answer a few questions that you're a little shy to end up asking me. And who knows? I don't know. For all I know, you're Catholic. Figure something familiar circumstances might end up giving you something to work with. Sister, would you have any particular points you want to end up chiming in on this?
And she'll kind of reiterate what it is that you've said, and kind of, do some kind of answering of questions and things like that. I'm not gonna play the whole scene by myself, but
I imagine like
there's
this
a bit
would
of
be
a,
important to them.
a bit of a back and forth before the girls seem to, have an idea of what you all mean by that. They still have yet to really figure out their skill sets per se as a pair and outside of each other, but they understand the concept. It seems that integrating themselves into the community somehow, wherever it is that they land, is going to be important, and that the sooner they do that, the better. And at which point, Sister Charity looks to you, Shriek, and says, "Do you mind if we have a word privately?"
Absolutely. Confessional.
She just kind of giggles, and Jordan and Julie leave the office. Do Anna and Alex leave as well, or no?
Well, I'm gonna speak for Alex and say she leaves because she just left.
Oh,
Yep.
well,
I guess I'm also leaving.
Power out.
Anna will go ahead, thank Sister Charity for her hospitality within her domain, and doot, doot, wait at the car.
And when you're alone with her, Shriek, she looks to you. "Is this how you're having me repay you?"
No. This is me just using you as an example of something I think this domain can use a lot more of.
This domain
I think there's a lot.
Needs less, Kindred.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're the dumping ground, so that's the problem.
I understand that.
And as much as others might be very quick to end up trying to get other people to meet God in a very straightforward manner, I'd rather avoid that if possible.
As would I, but
you're not responsible for feeding him. You're not responsible for any of that. You're responsible for one thing and one thing only. Maintaining your congregation, trying to grow it, and keep your ear to the ground in case any unnecessary rustling happens to show up, so we can end up coming in and fix it. Other than that, you get to end up continuing on your existence, going here in front of Jesus every single night and listening to the worries of your beloved congregation. I've done everything I can to not end up making this an interference, nor have I ended up commanding you the way that I suspect many other Primogen would, especially given your sordid history, your clan's sordid history with the Camarilla. I'm trying to play fair, but I have a domain to end up operating.
You're right. But your responsibilities should not be the looking after of fledglings.
True. But no one's gonna step up. And you're not about to end up risking your congregation getting eaten by them. Besides, they're cute. Very much temptation, sin. I think you were against that kind of thing.
It's more the organivore part.
Yeah. Could turn into a bit of a problem. So I'm going to end up specifically here trying to end up keeping an eye on that. In the meantime, that organivore problem can end up becoming very, very useful in the near future. My intent is to find better ways to integrate it.
Many have tried,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a rare condition not many people understand.
True. But I do know this. There are a lot of people who are going to be dying in the next couple of weeks. So if I can keep an organivore fed in the meantime with it, and it was going to happen one way or another, I don't see the problem. After a couple of weeks, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, see how the situation develops. Or is your recommendation me put the twins out of their misery and send them on to Jesus?
I wouldn't dare suggest such a thing.
The problem is too many kindred. That has not gone unnoticed. And if I were to suddenly start removing problematic elements, left, right, and center, there would be a lot of issues with it.
I think that was the point of the scourge swinging by.
That's right. So,
Remove the question marks.
I like questions. Questions mean people come to me for answers. And you also like to be informed. So this is me paying you a little bit.
Seems like I'm starting to owe you a lot.
Maybe.
You're gonna come collect one day.
One day. But not tonight.
I only hope that what you collect on isn't a dissatisfactory collection.
Sister.
There's only so much I can give you from my offering plate.
Sister, I'm not asking anything more out of your offering plate. I think you misunderstand me. In the end, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, help me to understand you then.
My job is to maintain this domain. That is the charge of which that has been placed upon me, and I intend to follow through with that charge to the best of my ability, so long as I am 2 feet above ground and still under Camarilla law. What I need is a bunch of kindred who understand that, respect it, and help pull the line. What I need to do is give you a situation where you'd rather have me in charge than what might come down the pipe. I want us to be mutually beneficial in that regard.
I would prefer a community where we work together rather than be adversarial.
I don't mind the adversarial part just so long as you don't end up making it my problem. But you cause problems in here, that's where we end up figuring it out.
That's what I meant, is adversarial with you.
I might poke fun a lot, darling, but I assure you, the nun thing's hot, and I'd like to ride that all night. It's unfortunate that, well, I've taken a vow of celibacy on that one.
Shame.
Well, nevertheless, what I'm really looking for is an understanding of, well, people respecting the title. I think I'd rather have the influence and power without the title. The title's just a formality. Right now it's the inverse. The title is what gives me a little bit of sway, and people respect the title. That's it. And so I make my inroads. I make the best I can. And I want a community that makes it very, very clear you don't touch Shriek. Because I'm the man around here. And I do like that idea. And so I rescue nuns being about to be gobbled up by children. I rescue good-looking twins who happen to end up finding themselves at the wrong end of a tradition that they had no part in. I bring to justice a sire who will dine and dash, and figure these two make for a very good piece of my collection. Oops, they didn't go with the center table. Throw them out now. I want to find that one. And I want to make a very, very public display out of that one.
And if you don't
Because
find them,
if I don't find them, I'll find somebody else. I'll find somebody to send my message. But at this point, Arlington has one thing in common. Not one of them, anyone outside of Arlington wants us here. But if we're a productive member of Camarilla society, able to end up making offerings to the prince that make us more of an indispensable asset, and showcase we can hold this stuff down, well then. Suddenly, the Arlington domain goes from a joke to a Camarilla success story, and there is nothing that any Primogen likes more than a sudden burst of reputation showcasing their capabilities. I guess I should have been embraced Toreador after all. And you want things to be quiet. You want to just spend your evenings in this church, and I want to help with that. I'm not asking you to donate off the congregation plate. I'm asking, how do I end up making sure that I'm informed enough that that congregation plate still keeps being passed?
whatever's spooking everyone, I think that's what needs to be dealt with here.
Black Vans, Second Inquisition. Yeah, we're on that. In fact,
And I think we found out what it was spooking them about organs going missing.
and that one's under wraps too. Oh, look at that. 2 for 2. You might say for now, but just appreciate the fact you have some breathing space. Nothing's permanent.
No.
Not even us.
That we can agree on.
So. Hear anything juicy lately, dear sister?
Nothing of any particular note. Except while I don't exactly get along with her very well, Madame went missing.
Did hear a rumor about that. Believe it or not.
Gerard's up in arms about it. I tend to stay
not.
out of his way when he's in a tirade.
Good. He tends to get a little hot under the collar, but he's Brewhaw, so figured that one out. I will say this, though. I'm already on it. After all, Primogen's job to end up keeping this all under wraps. Let's go see what ended up happening to her, and you just keep passing that collection plate around. He reaches into a wallet, which clearly isn't his, as it's way too bland. Way too professional, as he pulls out a couple of 20s and drops them down. For the next time it's passed.
Your contribution is appreciated. Keeps my lights on.
And I'd like to keep them on. Help me help you. Now, I gotta go and be a responsible primogen and look to the needs of the many. So if you hear anything, well, I think you know a bookstore or two to call. So, that being said, is there anything else, dear sister? If not, I will take my leaves of the house of God before I start to accidentally start to infest this place and somebody starts accusing the statue of suddenly suffering from demonic possession or some shit.
It's a shame that that's a part of the curse for you. I can only imagine how frustrating it was in your early years.
Frustrating reminder that it's still my early years.
Always keep a bottle of Raid with you.
But your sentiment is appreciated. Now, I'm gonna end up heading out.
Have
Check
a
on the
pleasant rest of your
kitties.
night.
I'm sure that this is about to be a very bloody affair. Just a door, which I think gives these two a chance to speak with Julie and Jordan for a bit while Shriek was indisposed.
Yep. True enough. True enough. Got the four ladies all together, kind of hanging out outside the office, or maybe have left the church entirely and gone back to the car or something. But the four of you are together and can speak if you would like.
Any questions?
No, I think I understand the concept. It's just a matter of finding out what to do about it.
That's always taking the first step into figuring out what it is that you can do.
Well, for you, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, the shop is, like, occult stuff. For sister, it seems to make a lot of sense with, the kinds of, like, her beliefs and things like that. I had to learn how to investigate. I had to learn how to get rid of a body. I had to learn how to make things work as they do already. And Julie kind of puts a hand on Jordan's shoulder and says, "This surely should not have been your responsibility. I should have been the one taking care of all of this shit when I was the one causing the problems."
You're both fantastic assets to one another. You
Always
make
have been.
an amazing team.
I mean,
And that's
it
something you can work with.
comes along with being sisters.
Tell me, before all this, what did you want to be?
God, that seems so long ago. We were going to college.
What for?
Jordan speaks up and says, "Well, I was going into medicine." And Julie says, "I was going into tech."
Medicine and tech.
But
Those
that's
two
long
very-
since passed.
Those are both very unique skills.
Not like we got very far.
Doesn't mean you can't still learn. Doesn't mean you can't still use that. Tech is not so accepted amongst the kindred community, amongst us.
I know, I'm useless now.
doesn't make it useless. It always helps to have somebody who knows and understands what's going on in modern technology. That always pays.
I don't know.
And as for medicine is always spectacularly handy. Particularly with the problem that you both now face.
Yeah. God.
Technology moves forward. The world moves forward. Time moves forward. We stand still. Unless we make moves to move.
Jordan just kind of looks down at the ground for a moment. It's terrible, because as soon as you said that ways of dealing with the problem, my immediate thoughts were how to make someone last as long as possible. And I hate that. Because it's cruel.
Is it? As it stands, there's plenty of reasons why you would keep a body continuous. Just by any other means. Forensics is an example. You need to keep the body maintained for a very long amount of time in order to conduct an investigation. Whether you learned it or not.
I was meaning more along the lines of how to make it last for food.
My statement stands. I get where you're coming from. You're in a very jarring experience right now. Dying in of itself is jarring, but having to deal with the nature of how your curse affects you it's already complicated enough, but feeding is something we all must do. And the nature of it, whether it is organivore, feeding upon people's bodies and organs, or if it is merely feeding from just their blood, all the same, it's damaging. It's hard to cope with. I understand. And yet cope with it you have to. What was it? Leave Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
Shriek made it abundantly clear that we're not alive, Julie says. And I have to come to terms with the fact that I ripped a heart out of a woman yesterday. And I ate it. And I enjoyed it.
I ripped the jugular out of someone close to me when I was first turned. I'm not trying to dismiss it. But what I'm saying is that as horrific and monstrous as it is, you need to find out most imperatively how you can still imitate life and how you can still imitate a way of dissolving that harm. Reparations of some kind, and it may seem hard with your feeding habits. But I think the point of everything that we're doing is we're trying to introduce you to ideas and ways that you can think on. You can try and grow from it. Unless you have a preference not to.
It's gonna take a lot of time, I think, for me to be okay with this.
Certainly not something that's easy to come to terms. Thought for you though. If you could choose, because the position that you are in gives you the capability of choosing who died, what kind of person would you?
God. You say that like I'm. Nobody should have that power.
Nobody should. But criminals, people that harm others,
I mean,
you could
obviously
make
that
that
would be
your
the. I guess that would cause the greater good, but even. Oh God. Oh, I don't even want to think about that right now.
It's gonna come up. And if you don't anticipate it and plan for it, it'll happen when you really, really can afford it to come up.
And instead of being able to choose, your blood will choose for you. You may harm somebody that you don't want.
I have to become a monster.
In fairness, humanity is already monstrous. Still 27 states in the US, as we speak of today, that have the death penalty. What we're proposing isn't too off-key from that.
That's a lot to think about. And Jordan just kind of pipes up and says, "Look, we get it. You're just trying to tell us what would be the best options, but I think right now we're okay. Right, Julie?" Julie just nods. "For now, we have room to think about it and what that means. And I think this is a conversation we need to have by ourselves."
Don't take too long on it.
For what it's worth, I appreciate the insights and where we go from here ultimately does impact a lot more people than just us. People and vampires. So yeah, it's a lot to take in. Just need time to process, I think. I desperately wish we had some kind of sire, I guess, to really walk us through this kind of stuff, because that really seems like that should have been their job, right? Not yours.
It should have. Should have been. This is the hand that we've been dealt. And I'm one of those people that believes that everything happens for a reason. Good or bad. We can make the best of it. Or, well, let's not think of it.
That would be about when Shriek is starting to come out of the church.
In your case, lady, you have the capability, and from what I have seen and heard, the intelligence to make the best.
And try to stay out from underfoot.
If I might make one more suggestion. Shriek is really, really doing a lot to help you right now.
I realize that.
You make a decision, it is respect that you consider that decision on Shriek's behalf. You tell him what it is you want to do, what you plan to do, where you plan to go. For the first couple of nights, for the first couple of years. You don't have a sire. Not that we know of. I argue you have something better at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. Well, looks like he's back.
Oh! Welcome back.
Hello, ladies. So, now that we're done our little bit of hop and skip and a jump, can we get back to the thing that you're here looking to do? Sorry, girls, to end up having you as the tag-alongs, but it might be useful to end up having you watch just how big this tends to get, at least for the next little while. And who knows, it might be a learning experience.
Oh boy.
Actually,
Lots of learning experiences.
given the things that we've just learned about these two girls, one of them might be very handy to have on.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure how useful it will be.
Your
Just get in the
Primogen
way.
said that you're useful. That's a good thing.
Right. Okay.
Have a bit
Wow.
of faith.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying to the girls, have a bit of faith.
Ha! All right. Can we get out of here before I start suddenly feeling the sudden need to drink holy water and end it all?
That's a thing.
And like that, Shriek starts moving back to the car.
Oh boy.
So, does anyone else have any plans at the moment?
I'm simply the driver this evening.
Might I make a suggestion?
Just away.
I would like to speak with Colette. And, Alex, you might like some of the information she could share with you. She's a historian of sorts.
You
The
know,
kindred.
at this point, I've heard so much about Colette, but I'm yet to meet her. I would have loved to acquaint her.
Very well.
All right. Headed off to go and see Colette. Whereabouts are you headed to go find Colette?
There are, if I remember right, Colette has a series of sigils that she uses in order to identify her general domain.
Mm-hmm. Which is typically found around Kane's old stomping grounds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll just go ahead and head there then.
All right. And everybody else is going with, then?
I guess so.
I'm assuming because we're all in the car.
Carpool.
Going into Kane's domain. Yeah, this can't end. In no way will this end in bloodshed and tears.
I'm just imagining the amount of tension rising in Shriek the closer we drive to Kane's area.
And how?
And how? Because you do find that old warehouse and gym and sort of space that he's dedicated to the sort of underground fight club that is meant to resolve boons. If there's any kind of dispute that one might want to resolve with fisticuffs. It looks like there's not really much in the way of people here today, including Kane himself. He seems to be absent. Except for when you do draw sigils to indicate that you would like to speak with Colette. And before too long, you don't have to wait very long at all, actually, before she finds those sigils and makes her way towards the sort of fight pit that has been dug into the floor of this place. She's walking towards you, Anna, and sees that you have company with you as well.
An entourage.
An entourage of sorts, in a way, yes. You see,
And
you see, the rest of you see, she watches you very closely. She doesn't seem to blink much, but she does look you up and down. She seems to be assessing you in every possible way. Hello, Anna.
good evening, Colette. I hope you don't mind this evening, but I am accompanied by my fellow Primogen. This is Primogen Alex and Primogen Shriek.
She gives a bit of a bow to you both.
The two young ones are new to the domain. This is Jordan and Julie.
Ah, yes.
I was interested in catching up with you on a few things.
Yes, of course.
I thought I'd give you a few days with the investigation that I sent you on, and well, I've come across some very interesting and new information, and I'm wondering if I could cross-examine that with you. Maybe you
Corroborate
had
it
something
all.
new.
Yes. Shall we all talk freely? Are we including the young ones in our conversation?
They're here to watch. Watch and learn.
Observe, yes. Okay. Very
The
well.
Primogen are in the know as it is.
All right. So, what can I corroborate for you?
We had learned recently that Madame is apparently missing.
Yes. Yes, I did hear of that. I did only hear of it, though, as, well, one must feed from time to time, and when I was taking that sort of break in keeping track of her, that is when she supposedly disappeared. And I haven't seen her since.
A very short amount of time to vanish.
Well, if it wasn't so difficult a night, perhaps I would have been back at my post sooner. That is perhaps my own failing.
It's no matter. Where was the last location that you had happened to locate her?
I last saw her when she was on a feed of her own. Well, I don't know if I should go into private details, but as I don't know that she would be all that grateful having her style exposed. But suffice it to say, that as she was finished, she came out of a hotel room, and she seemed fine at that point. She had finished her own feed, and she looked rather like she had had a good meal. And that is when I decided to do something very similar and do something like that for myself, as, well, I didn't want things to get out of hand. Must be ready at all times, of course.
Of course. At the time, did you happen to notice any pursuers?
At the time, no.
I see.
She's very cautious. I did notice that there were times when she noticed me.
She was aware she was being followed.
I think she's been aware she's been followed since she came to us. Always a head on a swivel on that one. She knew I was there. And I suppose it maybe gave her a bit of comfort. And when her guard was down and mine was gone for the moment, I suppose that's when they pounced, whoever it was.
Given the specifics that I gave her to function as bait, and to actually infiltrate and exploit her pursuers, I'm led to believe she possibly brought someone of interest with her. So we'll start with that. What was the hotel?
And she'll name a hotel that's kind of on the Arlington city limits, kind of like right out there on the city limits.
Okay. Does this? Actually, Anna will look to Shriek. Does this cross over any other kindreds to me?
Good question.
Intelligence and politics, Shriek. You know You know that Dr. Ian Keller is nearby, but as far as any others that might be nearby, that would be at that particular junction. That's 3. Okay. You know that Dr. Keller is north of you, in nearing the sort of between Arlington and Dallas. You know that to the east of you is some of the La Sombra holdings. To the west of you is going more into Fort Worth, where you have more of the Ventru and Toreador of the city start to make their homes. South of Arlington is kind of a no man's land. Nobody really claims that. Gangrel kind of walk out that way, but that's about it. And that's what you know about the surrounding area. And that hotel seems to be on the city limits, that kind of head towards the west.
That's towards the Ventura and Toreador.
Towards the Ventura and Toreador, yep.
Oh, this will be fun. Shouldn't have too many problems.
Jade's home's out that way.
Pardon?
Jade's home's out that way.
Yeah. Might need to end up making a stop and talk to the local blues.
Well, that can be arranged, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
That said, appreciate your efforts thus far, Colette.
I have been keeping an eye out for more of those vans, but I haven't seen any of late.
That could either be good news or bad news. But considering we're down one,
We should not let our guard down. Yes. And I humbly apologize for my failure.
If we have an opportunity to find out what happened with Madame, I don't believe there is a failure to be had. If you so could, I would very much appreciate your continued assistance on this. There's a possibility we might encounter some individuals of these black vans at some point.
My hope is to keep an eye on you as well.
Would be very much appreciated.
I haven't seen Kane today. Is there any particular reason why?
And as
nothing to concern yourself with. At this point, he's run into some personal matters that we are not at liberty to discuss. If he wishes to discuss it with you, I have no doubt that he'll find you and do so.
He is the one who set this place up to be a boon settling place.
Is there a dispute right now that needs to be settled?
Not currently.
Well then. I think then it's operating perfectly fine without him at this exact juncture.
I think the intention was for me to remain here as the operator. I'm at a loss at what I should be doing at the moment.
The power being split amongst the Primogen, also ends up meaning that cross interest at this point. So tell me, Colette, what is it exactly would you like to be doing right now? Titles be damned.
Right now? I would really like for these vans to just disappear.
Well, easier for you to end up being able to do your job here without the notice of the vans.
Indeed.
I think at that point, I'm sure we can end up explaining it in good faith. Besides, a single evening. How frequently do these disputes happen? Truly.
I think Mr. Tenebris had hoped that they would happen more often than they do.
Well, thankfully they don't.
Thankfully.
So, let us take this moment of peace and deal with the situation at hand, shall we? I mean, it could be just delicious to end up seeing people go at it, get all hot and sweaty and bothered, but reality is that right now, there's so much more to do.
And I think
So, okay then.
is where we're going to take a quick break. Get drinks, snacks, whatever it is you need, and we will be back shortly with more Blood and Iron Dead Man's Hand. So be back soon, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. The coterie, Alex, Anna, and Shriek have collected together themselves the information that Colette had available to her about the disappearance of Madame, as well as had Julie and Jordan be tagging along. Perhaps to give some input, perhaps just to observe, but mostly to kind of educate these girls on sometimes what Kindred get up to. So, sort of a watch and learn sort of a deal. And so the five have gotten into back into Alex's car. Colette's got her own means of travel. And so, where are you headed?
What's Raphael's?
Over Raphael's and the storage units.
And as they're driving, Alex says, if this turns out to be a bust, I have an idea. And hopefully that idea will reiterate on what we were speaking about earlier.
I guess I have a lot of questions as to where you all got this equipment in the first place, but If you don't mind me asking.
Equipment?
That's...
Sorry, what was that about equipment?
the van. Didn't know. I'm sorry. Am I out of the loop right now?
The stuff that was in the storage room. Alex doesn't know much about it. She's got no.
Okay.
No, that was
stuff in
that
the
was a
storage
question directed
room.
at Shriek and
Yeah, no. Let's rephrase that. What is it that Raphael is holding right now?
Well, as it currently stands, entire storage room full of previously used SI equipment. Oh, and an SI agent.
An agent.
I told you he knew a guy who knew a bitch.
See. I imagine they're being interrogated.
Yeah, so I'd really want to end up getting to them quicker. You know, Raphael may be patient, but there's patient and then there's flirty.
I see what you mean.
With that, Alex put down just a little bit more, not enough to catch too much attention.
But to drive quickly, on the higher end
Yes.
of the speed limit rather than the lower end. Okay, so you make your way to the storage facility, which is kind of on the northwest side of the domain. Kind of makes sense, given his the fact that he's a Ventru. Given that that's the direction in which the Ventru and the Toreador tend to make haven. And so, you all arrive, and Colette is following you in her own vehicle. As you did tell her that you wanted her to tag along, right? Or no?
I want to say we agreed to meet at the hotel.
Okay. Agreed to meet at the hotel, because I was misunderstanding that, because I thought you were like, we're expecting trouble, we want you to come along.
Nah, we got Raphael open. Raphael will handle everything. He'll die for the cause.
Why Alex wants to keep you in the good books.
Yes, yes. When you arrive at the storage space, and you're directed when you ask about the van, or about the storage unit that you would know would hold the van. You're not really asked any questions about it. You're just told a unit number, and that it's in the very back of the spaces. It's one of the larger sort of it's one of the larger sort of units where you can maybe drive several cars into the units. It's one of those very large sort of storage space, and so you're directed that way. You kind of slowly kind of drive your vehicle towards that area, and you make your way towards it. It looks like it does have a sort of a garage door for being able to drive vehicles into it, but it also has a side door where, if you just want to walk into the door, it also has that available to you too, so that you can maybe put 2 separate locks on it if you wanted. But when when you're when you go there, you see that the garage door itself is locked, and is locked heavily with a it looks like a very heavy duty lock, and is kept very, very shut. You see that um, the side door doesn't have a padlock on it, uh, but when you go to try and open the door, it is locked from the inside. So what do you do?
Alex is going to knock on the outside of this side door.
Okay. Very large, sort of metallic sort of knocking that you're doing. And you wait a moment. You maybe get the itch to knock once again, but you hear a familiar voice from inside. Who is it?
Alex.
There's a pause. You hear several locks undo from the inside. And you see this you see this door sort of open outward toward you. And you see Raphael's face. Yes.
We did call ahead.
You did. So here you are.
May we come in?
I was just about wrapping up. So if you have anything additional you want to ask, I'm delighted to allow it.
Appreciate it, big guy.
Mm-hmm. Of course you do. So he opens up the door a little bit more, kind of makes sure that there's nobody else watching this particular unit, and allows you all to come inside. Are you bringing the girls in with you, or are you leaving them outside?
Probably for the best that they stay out of this for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, probably.
Ladies, this is that unpleasant part. I'd like to keep you away from it for a little bit while longer. So, I'd like you to watch the car, make sure nothing bad ends up happening, and do exactly as dear Raphael says. He's a kind and orderly sort of man. So, best to comply in that regard. Pay him his fair due, after all. He is an honored member of our little gathering.
They both nod and go back to Alex's car to wait inside of it.
Alex actually tosses them the keys.
They'll
Just in case.
They'll take the keys, and if they need to, then obviously then they can make off with the car if they need to. But if there's no need for it, then there's no need for it.
That already trusted with the ride of a primogen coming up in the world
already. Mm-hmm. You make your way inside. There is kind of this it's almost like the side doors kind of walks you into the rest of the storage unit. You do see that there are several vehicles actually in this storage unit, one of which is the black van that you captured. The others, you're not sure where they're from. They're just different pieces taken apart. You see that in the very back of this storage unit, however, there is It does look like there is a hatch that was built in after the fact. It doesn't seem to, match the rest of the storage unit sort of look. But you see that he opens it with the keys to a lock, and you see that there's a ladder leading downward into what looks like a basement underneath this particular unit. After you.
Yeah, sure, why not? I'll end up taking the lead.
All right. And what you find down there is that there is, in fact, a basement. But this basement is kind of finished in a way that there are holding cells. Holding cells with bars made of steel. Almost like jail doors. Where you see some old stains on the floor, on the concrete floor. You see some rather new blood on the concrete floor. You see that that there's a room for a couple of cells, and it looks like a far chamber that has a door that he leads you to. The cells themselves are empty, but when he leads you to this sort of smaller room in the back of it, he opens the door, and what you see is that woman from the van. Alex, you would also recognize this woman because she came to the store one time. Dark complexion, silver hair, sort of looks like she's been through the ringer. She's mangled, but still alive. A blood bag hooked up to her to replace any missing blood. Like an IV bag to replace fluids.
If anybody's paying attention, they would see Alex's face very much shows obvious pride and recognition.
She looks barely conscious, and it looks like she's taken a number of swings. She's mangled. She looks like she's been through it, but only just being kept alive.
Holy shit.
I have to admit, I'm almost impressed. You gonna be alright, Anna? Not about to get a little irksome in the next few seconds?
Yeah, if it makes you squeamish or if it makes you angry, I'd say leave now.
I
will not
think
tolerate
I will.
frenzies in my lab.
I think I will take my leave. Don't have the stomach for this kind of thing. But I've seen this girl.
Good to know.
Okay, that gives some interesting points. How about you, Anna?
I'll stay.
It get a little rough.
And like I said, I will not tolerate frenzies in my lab.
That's not the concern.
And Shriek shoots Anna a look at this point. Maybe Anna will remember a conversation Shriek had in the park with Anna. The one about what you are versus what you appear to be. We're looking for a missing person. Well, I guess they don't qualify as people to you. What's this one's name? He looks at the bars, studying this agent.
To be clear, she is strapped to a chair in a laboratory with lots of implements around. This kind of tiny backroom laboratory with
I was thinking one of the cells. My mistake.
Yeah, the cells themselves are empty, but this backroom laboratory is has an IV bag of fluids and an IV bag of blood attached to her.
Just to be clear, is he asking for her name?
Yep.
Alex is going to speak up. She introduced herself to me. What was it? Kyra? Kyra? Something like that.
Kyra, she says very softly.
Yeah.
She bought a bunch of things.
Look, you're sticking around or you're not.
Look, I thought I would just tell you what I know. I'm going now. Alex heads back upstairs.
I'm staying.
Suit yourself. And Raphael steps back and allows you all to kind of he kind of takes up a position in a corner where he's just kind of excuse me, pardon me. Standing there a bit menacingly, as if to put off that intimidation sort of a look, like she knows what will happen if she doesn't cooperate.
It's working. It's working. I can assure you. Kyra?
Kyra.
Well, I'm so glad you're willing to end up correcting any misunderstandings. Kyra, your group, your gathering, whatever you want to call it, has been kind of lurking around our area a bit. But you may have picked up a stray or two. I'd like to bring some lost little lambs home.
Are you Blanks too?
He pops his fangs. Looks like it. Blanks. Ooh, I like that name. It's better than what they call us.
What do they call you?
And I'm asking the questions tonight, honey. Just read between the lines. Some of ours went missing. We know you have them. You pick them up. We want to know the who, what's, where's, when's, and why's.
It's a little late for that. Already been shipped off to Langley.
Langley? Why would you bring him to Langley?
Didn't he tell you? FBI Special Agent Kyra Hardin.
Hmm. Already shipped off to Langley. Hey. What if I don't buy that?
Then happy hunting.
You better hope not. It ends up in more circumstances like this.
It's alright.
So why here, of all places?
Does it matter?
It kind of does. I want you to imagine a circumstance. I think you'll find this funny. I want you to imagine some group of kids in a van. Maybe with a little dog that talks to a guy who's high. Maybe the nerdy girl and the prep boy and the prom queen style. And they all grouped up in a van.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. What's the point?
Now try and imagine what happens when they find out that it's not a monster they found. What they found was that they were in the middle of a maximum security 23-hour lockdown prison filled with people who are not designed to see the light of day ever again. What are the kinds of people that you would end up putting in that kind of prison? Because that's what you just let out. You've been hunting blanks, you didn't get specific. And that lack of specificity is going to be a problem.
Any old blank will do.
Not these ones. These are the kind of things that cause that same prison I was talking about to do some things that most people don't want to read about in the papers. I want to know why. Why Langley? Why Brett? Why lift them all the way out there? See, we really don't want you guys poking around. I think you figured that part out. You kind of pissed on our front lawn, and we took exception to that. So
that's why expediency was of the utmost. You only caught me because I was recruiting.
Newbie, right? Newbie, right? That's right. And
what'd
I'm
you do
sure...
with Annie? You killed her, didn't you?
If that's all I did, she got off lucky. No, I did a lot worse than that.
You bitch.
No, I am. I am a filthy little bitch. And a very creative one, too. Would you like to hear how she died?
You're gonna tell me anyway, whether I like it or not.
Oh, I do love surprises. But no. It's not really the point of this visit. They're in Langley. And I want to know communications. I want to know what brings you around this part of the woods. I'd rather you guys... Look, if you guys were doing this shit up in a shithole like Canada, I wouldn't think twice about it. Hell, go to Australia and knock yourselves out. But you came to our backyard. Had to be a reason. I mean, it must have occurred to you that nights are a lot longer up north than they are down here. I mean, trying to find us down here, you know, your hunting sessions only last 4 hours before you have to go for lunch and it's over. There's got to be less complicated ways to do this.
It helps when you have volunteers.
Volunteers?
She came to us.
And how'd she find you? I mean, I was looking for you forever, but I couldn't find you anywhere in the yellow pages.
No, she knew.
She knew
how to find us.
But you had to make it available. So how'd she find you?
She made herself available on the street. I took the opportunity. Gave her a deal she couldn't refuse. So you tell me how this plays out. She gets what she wants. For a little bit of information. Gets to walk. Because there's going to be more like me. If you don't let me walk out that door right now.
There's going to be more of you even if I did.
But I have my director's ear.
You know what Oh. Go ahead, Emma.
Can I make a call?
Best do it away from prying ears.
I'll be right back. If I can make a request. Don't take any actions until I return.
Not making any promises, but I'll give it a shot.
It'll be worth it. Anna's gonna go in upstairs. Find a phone, probably a clerk counter or in an office somewhere if Raphael will allow it. Privately, make a call to her sire's office.
Okay. You'll be, you can walk, it's a little ways away, but you can walk towards the main office, the reception office. It'll be some time between the time you get there, the call, and the time you get back, so it's probably going to be roughly 15-20 minutes between all of that. What are you telling your sire?
I need to ask a favor.
What is it, my darling?
I know you can change memories. I need you to do it for someone. I need you to do it to someone.
When?
Can you come tonight?
Where?
She will give the address of the lot. Of course, I should specify this is all encoded.
Yeah, I figured. To
the best of my abilities. I wasn't thinking about it in the moment.
That's okay. I understand.
Anna would have the intelligence for this. Me, not right now. I'm tired.
Then I'm gonna make this a roll instead. Go ahead and make me an intelligence subterfuge.
Intelligence subterfuge.
So that
I can do that.
Yeah, just to see how well it is that you were able to get this across without actually explicitly saying it. Are you satisfied with 2?
No, I just want to make sure I want to go more for 4.
Okay, you have 2 more that you can re-roll.
I can. Yay, higher willpower. 2 for 2. I'll
All
take 4.
All right, 4 it is.
That's the best outcome I could have hoped for.
You feel very confident that you were able to speak in code, but understandably in code. You are confident she understands what you're talking about and where.
Okay.
She lets you know that she can arrive in roughly an hour.
Perfect. Anna, it will return to the room, and I gotta update the other two and convince them.
All right. So in the meantime, Shriek, you are alone with Raphael and Kyra.
Goody. Goody. Wow. See, there's a part of me that thinks that your director, what's his name again?
Schmidt.
Well, Mitt.
Schmidt.
Ooh, German lad. Oh, this will be fun. I'm thinking maybe he wants to see a blank body up close and personal. What do you think?
I think he already has.
Oh, I don't know. He hasn't seen you yet.
And even if you did, what would that gain you?
A barrel of laughs, first and foremost. I personally think it would be kind of funny to see you tearing into his face. For him to end up seeing somebody who was so adamant to defend him also be the one who eats him. That's pretty funny in my book. But
You would come to expect that.
maybe.
Sooner put me down than allow me to run rampant. Maybe use me for study. Maybe that would be towards the end goal.
Which is?
Study. Know thine enemy.
So I guess this is a tit for tat situation with you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I have nothing to lose.
Honey.
Bugs already took it all.
The Madame. Heard of her?
That's supposed to mean something to me.
If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, well, you might want to start talking.
There's lots of people called the Madame. Which one?
The one you took from our little neck of the woods.
Leslie. I know
How'd you
her.
manage? Go ahead.
Oh, I said I know her.
So,
So,
where is she right now?
on her way
No
home.
way they may. On her way. What routes do they take? How do they ship them out there? It's not exactly safe for us to be dragged out in the back of a pickup truck. Though I'm here, a lot of people in Texas are real fond of that.
You underestimate who you're talking to.
I'm talking to somebody who ended up getting a new recruit eaten, compromised the internal security of their entire operation, and is currently locked in the basement with a couple of blanks.
And everything that you find from me and from the van is all information you already know.
Bro. But you haven't figured out what we can do yet. Now, I'm not sure on how this is going to play out. I'm going to be honest with you here, hey, Kyra. But I'm curious to know. I'm curious to find out because my little buddy over there, she's really inventive. I mean, I almost feel like a dullard, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward to it. Your worst case scenario, well, your best case scenario, really, is that you're waiting your turn. Have a few days to get good with yourself, which it sounds like you have. Get good with, well, whatever god you might end up viewing. And kind of just come to peace with it.
It's gonna happen
I'm hoping
anyway.
that for you. But threats aside, because I think you know how dangerous this situation is. He sits down. Yeah. Pulls up right beside her. What if I were to offer an alternative? You said we took everything from you.
Yes.
What did we take? Husband, wife, lover, parents, kids, job,
All of the
family,
above.
company. Now, how'd that happen? You think we just move in and kind of massacre everything on a whim? You think that's how we operate?
No.
No.
Solitary predators.
Okay. So, seems like an awful lot of dead meat. Now, I have a theory about it, and I'm sure the good sir sitting right over there is currently already piecing a few things together. When things go wrong, that's when that situation happens. And there's a handful of things that would cause it to go wrong like that. And the ones that cause things to go wrong tend not to be around too long. We like our pawn still, like you do. I like the idea that somebody might be able to raise a family, have a couple of kids, be able to have the little gremlins crawling all over them, go to preschool, grow up, do it all over again. It's a fun song and dance. Really, I do. You know why? It's because nothing went wrong. Take a little bit here, take a little bit there. But nothing went wrong. In your case, something went terribly wrong. Somebody saw something, somebody said something. Hell, maybe one of you just did something stupid, like shot someone. And it escalated from there.
Maybe.
What I'm offering is a chance for you to show me you can do better.
Why would I show you I can do better?
Because you don't like blanks. Believe it or not, in my field, that's actually a very valuable asset. And it's not one you can train.
I also don't like you.
And that's fine. I can live with that. Most people don't like me. But I can get along. Depends. Really depends on what our dear little friend has planned.
Get to your point.
I'm offering you a chance for a life. A
My
do-over.
My life is already gone.
Hey, I put my fingers to her neck, feeling a pulse. Seems to be just right and where it needs to be.
You and I both know I don't have long.
I don't think you recognize what our capabilities are, or even just mine.
Why would you let me walk? You have nothing to gain.
Really? Someone who understands the game? Someone who understands what kind of threat a blank is? Somebody who really understands what the costs are when things go wrong?
And I know all
And
of
someone
that can be taken away.
It's more than you got right now. The worst part about losing hope, Kyra, the worst part about resigning yourself to your fate, is it tends to end up spreading about. Whatever happened to the indomitable human spirit? If everybody, the agent, just rolls over and accepts their fate?
The only reason that I've accepted my fate is because I'm caught. But let's be honest. You haven't defeated us by defeating me.
No, absolutely not.
So, you're at a crossroads. You either let me go, which is what you're proposing. Start a new life, start over, become fresh. What's to stop me from becoming something else you hate? Something else you'll destroy, you'll just to kill me later. That's really the only question, is whether it's now or later.
Death is so boring, though. So permanent. Life's full of opportunities.
And there's plenty of it still in the organization. So do whatever you want with me. Like I said, nothing left to lose.
At that point, I imagine Anna would return.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it's all right with you two. No. Actually, I need to make a formal request. This woman's life is now mine. She will be my responsibility. I've called in a favor of my own behalf because I have chosen to spare her.
Well, good news at this point, Anna. Ira is already dead. Who this is, well, I guess whatever you make of it. Mr. Singleton, the young Primogen has made a formal request. Aren't you the least bit curious to see on how this goes? I mean, it must
Curiosity
be.
sometimes kills the cat.
Yeah. But satisfaction always brought me back and paying for more.
Indeed.
Well, Ira, you beautiful darling, you. I'm hoping to end up with wishing you the best of luck. Just remember, I was at least kind enough to give you the choice. Mr. Singleton, I think it's best if we end up giving the little one a opportunity to get acquainted. After all, it's always good to end up having some one-on-one time with one's dominator.
Kyra kind of leans over and spits some blood on the ground.
Anna, you know what you're doing, right?
I do.
As our primogen wishes, so shall it be done. Nib Shriek does almost a bowing court gesture before he ends up making his way to end up going up the ladder.
Do you want
And-
Raphael to leave, Anna, or do you want him to be here?
I'll leave it to his discretion.
He's actually going to step outside of the laboratory and let you do what you're going to do. He is going to remain behind, in the hallway between the cells to stand as backup should you need it.
Okay. Anna will approach Kyra very slowly, stopping just in front of her.
She purposefully doesn't look at you.
Anna will get down on a single knee. She will pull out a handkerchief, wipe away some of the blood.
She kind of pulls away from
Scratches.
you.
Anna will return her hands to her lap. Her own lap. Just look at Kyra for a moment. I know it doesn't seem like it. I know you don't believe me. You view us all as monsters, and honestly, I do too. But I would like nothing more than to spare what I can. I don't think you're wrong.
You don't think I'm wrong.
I think you're completely justified.
Is this an appeal to my morality? A
No.
manipulation?
No. If anything, this is just me trying to comfort myself.
Trying to put your own conscience at ease. For the horrible things that you've done, allowed to happen, have yet to do.
You want to know the worst thing about this? It's that it didn't take being undead to make me a killer. I just happened to be baked in. It's all human. And a human nature in the end, and I think just being dead prevents any possibility of retribution from that. You're trapped eternally from the point that you died. Whatever you are, whatever you were. Forever. Till you're nothing but ashes. In a way, it could be argued that maybe you're trying to save us. What's little left of our souls. I don't think you're a bad person. And I think it's ridiculous that we would treat you so terribly.
But I deserve it. I deserve it because I threatened your people. All of the blinks of this city. With nothing but driving my van through your little territory. Watching. Waiting. Studying.
And yet humans do the same thing all the time. Living people.
But blinks are dead. And the dead should not walk.
I agree. And the living should remain living. Unaware that the dead exist. Because in the end, that's honestly easier. That's the best thing for both of us. Coffee? I don't want her to have a chance. I want to use dementation on her.
Okay.
Kyra does not exist. And I want that broken. Any hate, any nature, any resolve. Because a broken, living woman is still a living woman.
Okay. So what is the resistance roll for dementation?
Let me look it up.
Because she's purposefully not catching your eyes, so but
dementation is
dementation
engaged with the conversation.
It is, and with their name specifically.
Composure intelligence, and I have her name.
Composure intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright,
I would like to rouse the blood.
Dementation requires a rouse check anyway.
Yep. So that's gonna be 2. 1, 2. Boom. I want my first roll of dementation to have that +2 because I want it to be just a beast.
I'll allow it since it's a non-combat. Normally you would not be able to rouse both in the same round.
Okay.
The way we have been ruling it so far. But since it's a non-combat, it's more of a social contest.
quick question, because this has not been used before.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to rouse every time I'm trying to make an attack, or is it just continuous?
No, once dementation has been activated, you simply need to persist with the conversation.
Okay. It's 4.
Okay. And you said it was intelligence composure as the resistance roll? Okay.
Mhm.
She's pretty tough mentally. Oh, she's not supposed to have a hunger dice, but that's fine. Oh, no, that's 7 successes on her part.
Oh, shit. I don't really...
Okay. Dementation.
Does this count?
Dementation.
Does this count as a...
Oh, what?
Can't work?
Yep, dementation counts as it's not able to be used on her. She has the because I was gonna do it was just gonna be a one and done sort of a contest, and so in this particular moment and this particular scene, she is immune to dementation.
That would have been so cool if it worked. Okay. Fine. I don't have the dice. I'm not that cool.
Cool.
You lie to us.
She has some serious willpower behind her. That
I would have thought that after all that fucking abuse and torture that she would have been lacking on the willpower, to be honest, but whatever.
Well, it's not really a willpower roll that she's making. She doesn't have the willpower to re-roll anything.
True. Okay.
She has the intelligence and the composure to do it, though.
So that's her rolling at a -2 penalty. That's all that is.
Oh, I didn't even roll at a -2 even.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Card played.
Yep.
So.
No, that's immense.
It's okay.
She's tough. Would you try and poke and prod at her emotions, at her feelings, at her sense of duty, resolve? You kind of poke and prod until Dr. Vale and her vehicle arrives, which, Alex, you would notice that another vehicle does drive up towards the location. Shriek, you would notice that as well wherever you are. If you made your way back into the car or something like that.
Actually, I'm going to say Alex probably doesn't know because she's still inside the shed and she's actually probably looking over the van.
Okay. So if you both are looking over the van instead, is that what's going on then?
Alex would have been ever since she left the room.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. What is Shriek doing?
Shriek is here going towards the van. After all, this
Okay.
may or may not be her promise fulfilled on the idea that this is Second Inquisition.
Okay. Then I will count this as an assisted roll. So whoever wants to lead it, the other can assist. As a resolve and investigation.
I know that Lee has higher than I do, so I will assist.
Okay, so Shrink, that would be a resolve, investigation +1.
Okay. Resolve, investigation +1. Come on, dice. There we go.
Okay. Do you want to leave it there?
That is a good question.
You have 3 dice to re-roll.
I will re-roll it.
Okay.
Only 3.
3? Okay. I'll come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Because you'll find some information that's pertinent to the whereabouts of Madame, specifically in where they're shipping her out from, and the exact details. I'll come in and be able to give you. But suffice it to say, she's being shipped out by air and by commercial flight tonight. So it's going to be a flight before midnight or so that flies out of Dallas and toward DC. And so that's what you come to learn. But as you both are kind of scoping through the van to find anything useful as far as technology or information, that's what you learn as far as the tech goes. It's pretty standard stuff. It's not really anything complex. The only information that you find of any pertinence is of Madame, and maybe that girl that was being recruited. Everything else has been purged, or wasn't saved to this vehicle at all, as far as the hard drive on it.
Are there any images of Madame in here?
There would be, yeah, because they've taken photos for ID purposes and things like that. Okay. To make a fake ID for her.
Alex is gonna look over the images and get a really good idea of what she looks like.
Yep.
And I'm actually going to use eliminate the trail of prey,
which would
to track her whereabouts exactly to where it is at the moment.
Exactly where she is. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, they'll definitely be able to do that. And as you're kind of preparing the components for this ritual, you see that
it's literally just a ribbon.
Yeah. You see that that a woman just simply walks in to the storage unit and kind of walks from the side door to the hatch. I don't know that either of you have met this person before.
Nope.
Because Dr. Vale is of a very particular look. But she walks in like she owns the place. She walks towards the hatch like she owns the place.
She's got very like poofy, crimson-y red hair. She's kind of got like this Mad Hatter vibe, but at the same time this Ventru energy to her. But you can tell she works in a professional field of some sorts. That's how she dresses herself.
Yeah,
but something is
wearing some kind of dress suit and heels.
The thing that makes her odd is she walks very floaty.
Those heels barely make any noise on the floor at all.
She has very floaty mannerisms to her.
It's probably an absolute miracle that we spot her at all if she's that lightly stepped.
Yeah, the only reason that that you even spot her is because the back of the van faces the hatch, and you spot her out of the corner of your eye as she's opening up the hatch to go down the ladder.
Excuse me.
Oh, hello.
Who the hell are you?
I was summoned here by my childer. I'm sorry.
T'Challa.
But I don't believe we've met.
I'm sorry, you've caught me very off guard. I'm Alexandra.
I'm aware of who you are, but we've never met.
No, we haven't.
I do apologize, but the needs of my child are paramount.
Your child is...
Primogen Anna.
Right. Very well.
And she climbs down the ladder like she didn't need your permission.
Alex is just like, I don't even know right now.
Nana hears Dr. Vale coming up behind her. It's like it's only when she's already like basically right there. Nana turns around and sees her.
Hello, darling.
Hello, Dr. Vale.
Is this the one? She looks over
Yes.
Kyra and just kind of looks her over a bit. She looks over at Raphael. Well, she walked past Raphael. Raphael seems to not have been aware that she was arriving and kind of followed her back into the laboratory.
None of us were.
Literally only Shriek knew. Raphael knew Anna called in a favor, did not know what that meant.
Nope. Well, shall I get started?
Yes.
I believe that is where we're going to leave the session for tonight. With Dr. Vale working some mental gymnastics around Kyra. Starting what she could to maybe erase Kyra entirely.
In downtime, I want to mention Anna is helping.
Anna's helping. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for playing.
Thank you for hosting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Not me trying to save my own mortal enemy.
Oh no. Saving mortal
no.
enemy? What are you talking about?
What?
What?
I am hoping I am playing this well with a calculated fucking risk.
Me too!
Oh, no. Because, like, legitimately, it's like, fuck it, collect the twins, collect the SI agent, ghoul them, let's have some fun.
Yep. Yep.
Oh god.
Lots of things going on. Well, thank you guys so much again for playing this game with me, because
Thank you.
I enjoy it. Hopefully you have gotten the clues that you wanted, and all of that. So you have that. You have clues on where Madame is headed. You have clues that she is going to be flown out on a commercial flight. It's just a matter of intercepting her before she gets on that plane.
Oh my god.
Which is where the thing comes in.
Yep. And given how long you guys have been doing these things, you maybe have an hour, maybe two, to catch her in time.
Oh shit.
Let's see if we can catch him right in the middle of traffic.
Yep.
Semi-truck crash in the middle of Langley. Wait, she's being flown out. Oh shit. That's worse. You can't crash a helicopter, so the goal is to make sure the helicopter does not get off the ground.
Well, she's not going by helicopter. She's going by plane. At the DFW airport.
The goal is to make sure the plane does not get off the ground.
No, the
So we
goal
pop
is to make
some
sure that they
wheelies.
don't even make it to the airport. That would be ideal.
True.
Yep. Well, hopefully it was a satisfying session tonight. So let's talk about some. I don't think there's much Neue Sterns to do because you didn't really do any of the torturing, really.
Oh, yeah. And at harm none, do what thou wilt, though. For Alex.
Yeah, she's
Didn't
kind
really
of
do
hurt.
anything to stop
Didn't really do anything to stop that from happening in general beforehand. And when you learned about it, didn't do anything to prevent anything in the future from happening either. So, yeah, I think you're going to take a single stain for your non-action regarding that.
Yeah.
Given that that's part of your Wiccan code.
I was considering that when it happened. I was like, oh fuck. Yeah.
I just started on a weird thread in chat, and I'm trying everything in my power not to say Uncle Ted, a Malkavian. We're on a weird track. Okay, continue on.
Yep. Does Anna have... I don't think Does Anna and Shriek have stains that they need to take?
No. I almost did. It was don't do harm upon the innocent. I was, in my defense, I was trying to save an innocent.
I suppose that depends.
Not innocent. Let's
definition of innocent.
To Anna's definition.
Anna's definition? I would say Anna's definition of innocent is definitely applies here. And I don't think there's any for Shriek that I can think of. So we're gonna have the one for Alex for her non-action for the harm that was done that she could have prevented but didn't. Once she learned about it.
Believe it.
You are.
2 remorse dice if I roll?
Yep, 2 remorse.
I've done that right.
Yep. You feel shitty. But that's a good thing, because you feel something.
She definitely feels like crap.
Yep. You do
That's
not
a horrible
It's
scene.
sensitive.
You hate what's
Yeah.
happening to Kyra, because that's something that while she was apprehended before you knew about her, you could have done something to intervene.
Alex can't help but wonder if she had have realized when Kyra walked into her shop, if she could have cut this off before it got to her. There's a lot of self-blame going. Because she knew there was something odd about this girl who walked into her shop. Couldn't quite put a finger on it. And she really, if she had have cut it off there.
Could she have prevented Madame from even getting involved in this in the first place?
Exactly right.
I'm excited for you to play into that a little bit next session, so. Feel free to do so. It's a roleplay prompt. Speaking of roleplay prompts, we're going to start dishing out experience. The audience XP poll has already started, and we've got some votes on there already. There's 15 of you out there who are watching this live right now, so get those votes in. But everybody gets one for showing up at the table, so congratulations, you get your one. And then, speaking of roleplay prompts, we have our cast vote amongst each other about who had moved the plot and who had the best scene and who had the best line. And of course, our audience votes on their favorite tonight too. So, who moved plot?
Shit.
I'm gonna say Shriek.
I'd have to agree, Shriek.
I'll take it.
Alright.
I'm not fighting. I am
not
not
fighting
that much. I'm not filled with that much false humility.
Every session.
Yep. There you go.
I
There's
gotta
the.
have a shtick. You guys keep stealing the best line on me, and that used to be my title.
I
Well,
think you're gonna get that one tonight too. Not gonna
well,
lie.
we're gonna talk about the best scene first. Who had that one?
I really want to say Anna with Kyra.
Oh, that's
Anna
sweet.
with Kyra. Okay, okay.
I also liked that, but I also want to nominate Shriek and the twins.
Shriek and the twins. Okay, okay.
The mostly, I think it's mostly the aspect of Shriek acting as a Mala,
Mm-hmm.
which is really fascinating just to watch.
Shriek being a responsible parent, quote unquote. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, because he set such a great example. Let's
Miss Ford did
start
her
off.
best.
Let's start off. I would end up saying I got to give it to Anna, and it's for a very underrated point. It's the fact that she actually acknowledges all these plates. Like, she at least acknowledged that all these plates Shriek's been trying to spin this entire time actually exist. Like, the reason he's losing his fucking mind is because he's jumping from one thing to another, trying to end up making sure everything's going, trying to feed you guys information to keep things going. Everybody's like, we're gonna follow the breadcrumb trail. Yeah, not a problem, guys.
Like, Anna, it's that Shriek always has information. Shriek always has a news update, and Shriek has been following a whole bunch of different leads. But on top of that, Shriek keeps coming back. Like, every time Anna checks in with Shriek, Shriek's got new holes in him. So it's not from the bugs.
Shriek's got new holes in him, and it's not from the bugs.
Oh yeah. Shriek is at literally
on one health, I think. Yeah.
And this keeps happening. Like, it's so consistent, and Anna's just like, is everything fine at home? Are the raccoons treating you okay?
Like, Anna's the only one to end up realizing that this guy is in a perpetual state of abuse.
He's really in crisis 24/7.
Yep.
I got this, don't worry.
Yep. Well, that's 2 votes for Anna for 2 different reasons, but that's what
Oh,
counts.
thank you.
Shriek had the audience favorite, so there's that. Who
You
had
know
her
what
best
somebody's
line?
gonna do, though? Who had the best line?
Shriek.
I'm gonna let you two decide it. For what line?
What did I write in the chat? Fuck, where was it?
I believe you're exactly
Either way you look at it, I'm inside you. So or
One
something
way or
like
another,
that.
Yeah, that one.
Yep. Yep. That is a good one. That's Mox's
I also
nomination.
really loved the repeat of the growing on me like mold line that I'm pretty sure Alex said to Shriek earlier on in the campaign, and he's just kind of reiterated it for the
He's just kind of embracing it as a thing.
But it's like she got in trouble for using that.
I second that, but I want to give it to Alex for starting that joke. And then reiterating it again within the same game. It's a meme now.
It is a meme. A little bit.
Everything grows like mold on this fucking group.
Yep. Well, Derek, I guess you're the deciding factor here.
I don't greet it too often, so I'll greet it. I'm greeting.
You're gonna be greedy? Okay. Greedy it is. And if you didn't hear me, the audience favorite also went to Shriek too, so Yep. Shriek walked away with 3 votes. 3 of the 4.
Damn.
Congrats.
On top of the 1 for your your showing up prize.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for all of us here in the CoffeeCat Presents section of the Twitch and or YouTube, whichever you're watching on. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to go raid somebody, and if you're not following us on Twitch, you should be, because that's where we play everything live. We have been doing a new stream schedule where Blood and Iron is now airing at 9 p.m. Central Time, when I remember to actually hit the start button. Otherwise, Rebirth is on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, so just be aware of the new stream schedule. All of that is posted on the Discord, so if you are not in our Discord, you should be, because that's where I post announcements and we do hangouts and stuff like that, so on the occasion. So keep an eye on the Discord. That's where I post all of the stuff. And if you're on Twitch and you're not subscribed to YouTube, go subscribe to YouTube, because that's where all of the VODs for all of my VTM games are, and Rebirth. So I post all of the VODs that I post here on Twitch to my YouTube channel. I have recently updated all the playlists, so everything is up to date except for this week's content. So go and check that out. But with that being said, we are out and going to raid, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
I can fix her.
She can fix her.